You're here with MyGuy Brig, and today my special guest is MyGuy Monkey. How you doing?
Hi, Brig.
This is you're now the reigning champion of being guests on the show. How do you feel?
You're my guest.
Oh, I'm hosting.
I dare you.
You're the guest. We'll swap around next week, but for this week, I'm hosting.
Okay.
So our podcast is pretty much we pick a pop culture topic. The other person has no clue, no idea what it is. We give them some clues, and then you try and work out what it is. After that, we kind of go through their backlog of work that they've done. So that it could be a musician, it could be an actor, director, something. It could be someone who's wrote a ton of books. It could be a video game company or something as well, and we could talk about their films, their games and stuff. So, as always, you come in cold whenever I do the show. So I'm gonna start giving you a couple of clues. I don't think you'll get his name. It's a he.
Oh, it's the he. There you go. It's a clue.
There you go. As the first
probably
clue.
won't seen any of his films either. Let's see, or whatever.
So he's an actor.
Films, games.
He's an actor.
Okay.
His breakout role was in the 1996 film Swingers. He starred in The Breakup, Four Christmases, Couples Retreat.
Swingers and Breakup. Right.
Have you seen any of these?
No.
Okay, this doesn't help. He's been in Daredevil.
Okay.
Okay. Any ideas yet? No.
No.
He was in Friends. He's been in things like Deep Impact, Very
Friends?
Bad Things. Yes, he was in Friends, the TV show.
Okay. I've seen that.
I'm sure you have. Any ideas yet?
No idea yet.
He starred in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Avengers Endgame. He was in Spider-Man, Homecoming.
He starred in Iron Man.
Well, yeah, he's got a role in Iron Man. He's not Robert Downey Jr.
He's not Robert Downey Jr. No.
He's not Terrence Howard.
I'm way off.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't in Swingers, The Breakup, Four Christmases, Couples Retreat.
No? Okay.
Okay, so he was in Spider-Man Homecoming. We talked about him last week, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right. Is he the star of Spider-Man?
He's a star of Spider-Man, yes.
Okay.
No.
What does his name rhyme with?
I don't think that would help either. I don't. So we've spoken about him a lot. He's got a film coming out this weekend, hence why I brought up the topic. He's the man directing The Lion King. This small little film from Disney. Does this ring a bell?
Lion King, what's that? Who's directed? I don't know who's directed it though.
Okay, so it's Jon Favreau. I thought this could go on forever. Jon Favreau. He was in. He's Happy Hogan in Iron Man.
Right.
He was in Spider-Man. We talked about it last week. Him and Aunt May were.
Happy Hogan.
Remember him and Aunt May?
Yeah. Yes. I
yes.
Him and
Okay.
Aunt
So now, but basically, because
talk about now.
Because of the release of Lion King, the new CGI referred to as live action, I thought let's talk about the man who brought Lion King from the animated into the real kind of real world. It's photorealistic CGI, and I thought talk about his films. Excellent. And I'm sure you've seen some of his films. So,
well, I'm always fascinated to learn new things.
Okay, so we're talking Jon Favreau, not the actor in this case. We'll talk about him in terms of a director. Okay, so let's talk about the first film. I haven't seen. I didn't get a chance to get around to watching. There's a couple I watched this week, so I haven't seen it. But I'm going to do what we always do. I'm going to throw it to you, and you're going to try and muddle your way through the story. and I've got a little jingle for this. So recently, I've been as we were born in England. There's a TV show that used to come on. I never watched it, but I used to watch the starting a lot. And someone in the office was humming the song to this thing, and I thought, and I kept singing it to myself. Okay. So I thought I'll create a theme. It not quite. Yeah, it is kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
So his first film is a film called Made.
Mm.
It's a spiritual sequel to the film Swingers, which I don't think you've seen, which is him and Vince Vaughn. No. Okay.
No.
So the way that now time for the chorus. What's the story, my guy monkey? Wouldn't you like to know? Yes, I would like to know. What is the story? I know it's a cool jingle.
Made.
It's Made, M-A-D-E, Made. Spiritual sequel to Swingers.
Okay, so what's Swing? I don't even know what Swingers is about. Is that about couples? Couples swapping wives?
Not quite.
And Made is where they have some children. I don't know.
So I haven't seen this film. I just read a brief synopsis, but Made is kind of a gangster reference.
Okay.
Do you remember,
Made Man. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's kind of where it comes from. So this was his first kind of film, first directorial debut. It stars Vince Vaughn. He's worked with Vince Vaughn in a lot of things, like Swingers. He's been in Couples Retreat, Four Christmases. They've done a lot of stuff together. And this was his first film. He wrote Swingers, by the way. So yeah, small budget independent film. Cost about $5 million. It had a box office return of about 5.5, so it kind of broke even. And in terms of kind of like Rotten Tomato scores as well, it's about 71%, so it's fresh. So a lot of critics like this. It's a small kind of film, and it feels independent-y from the trailer, but it's actually, everyone says it's quite a good film, considering kind of like this is his first attempt at making a film. He's been given a small budget and go away and got creative freedom, do whatever you want, and it's a good film. It's quite funny. From what I could tell from the trailer, I haven't seen the film, but it is about a made man.
Yeah, it rings a bell now.
Brilliant. Now then, the second film. This one I'm sure you've just seen. If you haven't seen this film, I think we just stop the podcasting. We should stop doing everything, right? So this film, his second film, isn't anything to do with Swingers now. Okay, it's a Christmas film. Think back to a Christmas film. What Christmas film is so iconic, but more kind of in the last so many years, maybe 2000 onwards or just before that. So the newish Christmas film that's known as a classic.
A recent Christmas film.
Yes.
Elf?
Yes, he directed Elf.
Oh,
so Jon Favreau, starring Will Ferrell, as you're well aware. So what's the story, my guy monkey? I would like to know.
Oh gosh. What is the story of Elf? I'm sure I've seen it a couple of times.
You must have seen this one.
Yeah, I have. But I can't, he's an elf.
He is an elf.
He's one of Santa's helpers, but I guess and he's really naive and kind of stupid, I think, in the film, which is part of the comedy. Obviously overly happy, optimistic because he's an elf. Yes. And I guess he probably has to save Christmas because something happens to Santa.
He does, yeah. It's a Christmassy film, so you have to save Christmas in each Christmas film.
What happens, isn't it?
It's got a really good star cast as well. Will Ferrell, James Caan, Zoe Deschanel. It's got Peter Dinklage as well.
Oh, nice.
But pretty much, the story, as you said, so basically Santa's delivering presents. A little baby, orphan baby, ends up in his sack, and he gets back to the North Pole. And now he's got a human baby, and then the elves obviously are little people. Remember this bit?
Yeah, because he's a human. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That's right. And so he's brought up by elves. That's it. So he's brought up by elves, and then he comes to New York to find his real dad, and he finds out that his real dad's on the naughty list, and he tries to help him to become onto the good list. And then at the end he has to help Santa. By the way, spoilers for all these films. It's a bit late now, but it just spoiled the whole film. Came out in 2003. Spoilers for all of these Jon Favreau films.
Watch it.
Yes. So this film, I loved it. I think Channel 4 recently put it as one of the top, maybe 5 Christmas films of all time, rated in the poll for last year. So highly rated. Everyone seems to love it.
Trying to reform your own dad. That's quite a a heartwarming. It's something that everyone can. Well, a lot of people can relate to. I think. Obviously, most people have dad or someone in their life, and that they may want to reform, and want to help in their lives.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a deeper film than just kind of like it's a Christmassy film. It's all fluffy. There is kind of that element to it. He has the biological dad, and he has the adopted dad as well. So he's got the Superman dilemma of two dads. But obviously in Elf's case, his two dads aren't dead. His two dads are alive, and he's actually trying to reform one of them. And yeah, you're right, it is. But it's not just a comedy. I think there's the themes in that are very relevant for that time, and they still are to this day as well. You know, there'll be a lot of children going through something similar, and it's a great family film.
Funny as well.
Yeah, but now do you remember any of it? Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, that's it. I don't remember everything else.
So it's basically he comes to New York. He's helping his dad, and then right at the end they've got to get the Christmas cheer so Santa can kind of go off and deliver more presents, and that's kind of the film. We've got to give it our coveted rating. So based on how much you remember of it, clearly a lot. Where would you put this on our rating system?
I don't even know I can't even remember my rating system today. I mean, it's an okay film. It's if you're a family, give it a 3 out of 4 stars. Go and see it. Obviously, Channel 4 think highly of it, so I'm going to trust their opinion. But
it's not Channel 4 would have put out a poll, so it would be based on the British public. But yeah,
there you go. I trust them. No, I don't.
So based on our normal rating, well, the one that I invented, and you've got a separate one.
Yeah. Would you go see it at the cinema?
I actually saw this in the cinema, and I would, if this was still out or it comes on annually for Christmas time, definitely still a cinema watch. It's really funny. Will Ferrell's great in this. James Caan's great as the straight man. Zoe Chanel's good in it. Peter Dinklage he's got quite a good bit in it as well. Yeah, overall, a great film. A lovely kind of message to it as well. So highly recommend it. I think considering your first film is a film called Made, which cost about $5 million, this one you get a bigger budget, you get that Christmassy kind of feel good factor to it, and I think it really paid off because this was huge box office film. So yeah, I think he did incredibly well, Jon Favreau. So that brings us to the next film. Now I'm guessing this one you're not going to know anything about, but let's find out.
Well, Iron Man.
Zathura, a space adventure.
Okay. No idea.
What's the story, MyGuy Monkey? I would like to know.
Hey, what's it called?
Zathura, a space adventure.
A space adventure. Well, I'm guessing there's a sort of a space warrior called Zathura, venturing through space. Kind of big bad. You know, there's a big bad guy.
There's not really a big bad guy.
Well, there
is a big bad, yes, but it's not a big bad guy.
Okay.
It's based on an adaptation by it's a book by Chris Van Helsberg, the author of another book which got turned into film starring Robin Williams called Jumanji.
Okay, well, we've heard of that.
So this is like a spiritual sequel to Jumanji.
Oh,
so
wow.
if I was to tell you it's very similar to Jumanji.
Yeah.
Now what would the story be?
Jumanji, but with aliens.
That's right, exactly. It's called Space Adventure. It's pretty much in a way similar to that.
I've vaguely heard of that now, but yeah, I mean, why is this not a bigger movie? It's Jumanji the sequel.
Exactly. This should have been, and so I watched it quite recently as well. I'll get into the story in a sec, but one of the good things about this, they use a lot of kind of practical effects. And they used a lot of kind of animatronics and stuff. So
yeah,
visually this hasn't aged that badly. Like you can watch a film filled with CGI back in the 2000s, and you look at it now and you'll be like, oh, that looks all kind of it looks terrible. The CGI is all choppy and stuff. But when you still watch Jurassic Park, I watched the T-Rex bit again quite recently, and I'm like, all the animatronic stuff looks amazing. Like it's better than kind of like a CGI monster running at you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Jon Favreau did such a good job in this film, and he did that. Actually, I don't want to spoil too much about Zathura because I think it's such a good film. It's one of those films that I think if you haven't seen it, go watch it. You won't be disappointed. It is really good. It stars Josh Hutcherson. He was in Hunger Games, the kid from there. It's got Dax Shepard. He married Kristen Bell. It's got Kristen Stewart as well, and the dad is played by Tim Robbins. And it's really a story about a family. So that the dad and mum are going through like a divorce, and then it's kind of like how you can get the children, they come together and play this game, but also kind of like in playing the game from start to end, they actually come together and they feel a lot closer, and they get that kind of family feel from it. But what's good is like sometimes you watch kind of kiddie or family films and you're not invested and you think, don't really care about that kind of thing. But actually it's really earnest in this as well. And the two brothers and they're fighting and squibbling, it actually feels real. If anyone knows of a sibling, they'll kind of be able to relate to that, and then them two coming together near the end. And there is a spaceman, as it's called, Space Adventure.
Okay.
But watch that because I don't want to give anything away about that. But it's really good. That whole his journey and everything is amazing. And then obviously there'll be a happy ending by the end of the film, as always. But this is such a good film. Like, I think the problem was you had Robin Williams in Jumanji, a big star, leading that film. And then
he's just such a good actor as well, Robin Williams.
Exactly. You can't touch that. It doesn't matter who you chucked into this film. Star power would never push this film anywhere close to the other one. But it's a film that should be watched. I mean, it's so good. If you do have it on your streaming services, or you can get access to it somehow, watch this film. It's really, really good.
Will do.
Just unfortunate that it's one of those that kind of slipped through the net, because it had a budget of like 65 million and it grossed 65 million worldwide, so it's lost a lot of money. And people don't talk about it as much, but it's really good. It's a great family film as well, and the dynamics between the kids and stuff. So yeah, I'd highly recommend this.
I guess it wasn't a direct sequel, so they couldn't call it Jumanji in Space.
Exactly.
Would have sold it.
And well, even if they did, people would be like, well, Jumanji had Robin Williams.
Yeah.
This one doesn't. And there's not a very easy way to market this film.
It would have been the weaker film, but at least people would have heard of it. It would have been like, oh, there was that Jumanji sequel that didn't have Robin Williams in. At least they would have known what it was.
Unless if you call it Jumanji a space adventure. And therefore, but the book, I think, is called Zathura.
Yeah.
So you can't. It is an adaptation of the book. So.
Yeah.
And it's his first kind of film where the film's not made money, but again, it's just a really good film. If anyone's out there hasn't seen it, go watch it. Based on kind of my rating, I mean, if you can get access to it on your streaming service anywhere, go watch it. But this is another one that I would have said not so much watching the cinema, because this would definitely be a cinema, but based on my rating that I have, I would say watch it in the cinema. It does have some big spectacles as well, and it does have some cool practical effects.
I can imagine,
and animatronic stuff, which is really, really, really sweet. So if this was still out, based on our kind of normal rating, this is a cinema watch, definitely.
Excellent.
And where would you rate it based on that kind of description?
It sounds fantastic. I'll give it a 4-star. Let's go see it.
Yes, it's one that
it's not Netflix. I have Netflix. Not that we're sponsored by Netflix.
No. Well, one day, that's the dream, right? Once we are, then we'll leave the game. No more podcasting for us.
Amazon Prime want to sponsor us by giving us free Amazon Prime. That's fine.
Yes, I currently I'm coming to an end of my first 6-month trial, so I'm happy to have some more free Amazon Prime. But this is a film. I don't want to tell you too much about the story, because I think it's one that's best watching. It's that good.
Excellent.
Now, the next film, I'm sure you know and you've seen. What's the next film you think he directed?
Yeah, is it Iron Man?
It's Iron Man. We finally got a film we've seen. Okay, what's the story, My Guy Monkey? I would like to know. Yes.
Oh dear. I hate Iron Man
but we're talking first happened? Iron Man. Yes. What's the story?
Tony Stark makes a suit, Iron Man suit. That's about it, isn't it?
There's a little bit more to it.
I've got nothing else. It's been such a long...
he's been selling weapons of mass destruction.
Okay.
To different countries, and then he gets captured by I want to say militants or rebels, and then they put him in the bunker. That's when he creates his Iron Man suit. But remember, he gets wounded in that, and he ends up having shrapnel in his chest. Yeah. It's kind of where the arc reactor sticks out of.
Yeah.
He sits in there with the help of that scientist, him and so he gets captured by the terrorist group, I think called 10 Rings, which is a direct nod to the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. But so he's got the arc reactor, and then they create the very first clunky Iron Man suit. And it's a big kind of metal thing. He looks like RoboCop gone bad because he walks like that, and he's got the massive helmet. And then he finally kind of gets out. Terrence Howard and him head back to the base, and then he starts to perfect the Iron Man suit. What I really liked about this film is like he's made the suit, and he's Tony Stark, and he's just watching on TV. He's watching some sort of attack. Remember on the news. And just puts on the suit, flies over there, and just kills all the terrorists. Remember that bit? And there's that really cool Iron Man walks away from a blowing up tank where he shoots the rocket at the tank, and then he turns his back on the tank and just slowly walks away. Just like most films have that kind of iconic action shot where you have the main character slow-mo walking away from what's going to be this massive explosion behind them.
So he's just acting way cool already.
Way too cool, yeah.
I'm so cool, I just kill everyone.
Exactly. These are your weapons, by the way. So these are your weapons that you're sending out there that these terrorist groups are using. And then,
he should be sorting it out. But instead, he looks like the hero. He sold them the weapons.
Exactly, and then he has that big fight with. There's also there's the scientist. Remember in this film, there's that scientist who then appears in Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Right.
We talked about this last week. Remember?
Because you talked about it.
Anyway, so one of the scientists in this one that is creating, or they're trying to create another Iron Man suit.
Where it shows all the stuff,
Yeah, Jeff Bridges is trying to create another suit for himself because he's turned evil and he wants to fight Iron Man in the end, and they have that big kind of fight. And it's our first introduction to Phil Coulson, and of course Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau himself, and Pepper Potts. And then we have our first MCU post-credit scene. Obviously, there's been Marvel post-credit scenes previously. I think it was an X-Men, the first one, but this was the first MCU one, and that's the Nick Fury one.
Okay.
Where he says, "You're not the only superhero in the world."
True. Okay, yeah.
And he wants to discuss the Avengers Initiative. So, do you remember this film now? Because I know you've not said much.
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
I haven't really seen it in a while. Yeah.
So this film was huge, right? Because this one kicked off the MCU.
Obviously, yeah.
This is the original superhero film that created or started off the whole cinematic universe, shared universe stuff.
This was the good Iron Man, wasn't it?
This was the good Iron Man, yeah. So
I know something. I remember.
This one cost about 140 million to make. It made 585 worldwide. Huge box office hit. Yeah, you're right with the critical response was like 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was very funny. I remember watching it. It was really, really good. There were superhero movies out at that time anyway. Some were a bit darker, some were kind of a bit more campier, but this one was just so good. Like Robert Downey Jr. just was so good in this film. And at the end, remember, he just tells everyone he's Iron Man. He doesn't care. But he's such a good actor in this role. It felt like there's a comic book character out there, and they chose this actor, and he just is that person from the start. I know the comics changed and his. Oh yeah. And the comics have changed, so they look more like him now in the comic books. But it was so good, like the whole thing, the way it was done, and I think also kind of like picking this cute person to be the linchpin of your whole kind of franchise, putting everything on his shoulders, I think worked really well. I love the fact that Terrence Howard is in this film as well, because then they replaced him later on. But I really liked him. I don't know what else to say. It's such a good film, and I watched it quite recently. I don't think it's aged badly as well. Like I think the problem is now there's been a lot more better films, like Homecoming. If that's your origin film, that was a really good one. Black Panther's a really good kind of first film, but the threes have got better. Like Thor 3 was really good. Civil War, Winter Soldier, they were really good. Even Guardians 2 was good. So some of the sequels have got better.
All the movies are good now.
Iron Man started off at kind of like the highest point it could be, and then it's kind of dipped in quality, while all the other ones may have started like just above average. Because like I think the first Thor film was fine. The second one's really, really boring. The third one's amazing. Captain America, the first one is fine, but Winter Soldier is incredible, and Civil War is just as good. I think Guardians just was incredible anyway. But yeah, it seems like Iron Man's the only one that's gone on the opposite trajectory. Everyone else went on the upward.
I guess they didn't have faith in like the universe at that time, the Marvel universe. So they were maybe they just saw it as another sequel. So normally you get sequels that just sort of peter off. Maybe they didn't realize the scope of what this whole MCU was going to become at that stage.
I think they had an idea. I think Kevin Feige had already, as part of Iron Man 1, basically he took out a loan and he said, look, we want, I think he asked for 500 million, Kevin Feige, something along those lines. He said, look, I will sell you the following characters, and if we don't pay you back X amount as in all the money by a period of time, you guys keep it, basically. So Kevin Feige took a ton of these kind of characters that they have. And one of them was Iron Man. I think it's Cap. I think it was a few others. But and he just said to these, I need a loan. This is what we want to do. We want to start developing our own films. We want to start this kind of way. And I think it worked. I think they took a huge gamble on this. And it paid off, because I think previously they'd just sold rights off. So they sold off like stuff like Ghost Rider, Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man. A lot of the characters were already sold off. And then, he comes up with this idea thinking we should be making these films for ourselves, because he helped produce some of the other ones. And then he goes, no, as Marvel, we should be making them. And this is, everyone wants to copy this formula ever since this film. He took out a huge gamble, and I think ultimately this paid off, because if this was a bad film like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, then they would have lost so much. But they went away, made a good film.
Solid film,
From start to finish, it's a standalone film. It's just literally just Iron Man. Let's do a basic origin story, make it fun, have certain action points here, and it ends. And that was it. There was no like, let's build and let's do a payoff in later films. And I think that's why it works. Yeah, you have a post-credit scene at the end to say, you know what, we're building to something bigger. Guys, keep with us. But initially, the film should be that simple. It should just be like, here it is. You're left to right. This is the whole film. And then it ends.
True.
So, our coveted rating system, where do you rate this?
Iron Man. Don't even go and see it. Bloody Iron Man. Just start with Avengers Assembled.
So you skip everything.
Yeah, just watch Thor and then Avengers Assembled and then continue the MCU. Don't even watch any of the Iron Mans or Captain Americas.
You didn't like Captain America? Winter Soldier was so good. Oh, Winter Soldier and Civil War was incredible. And Winter Soldier didn't even have Tony Stark.
I don't like Captain America either. He's just
like
Superman wannabe.
Oh, he's not a Superman though. He's just got the normal man.
He's got the same colours. It's just Marvel trying to rip off the colours of Superman.
You know, Thor's cape is red.
Yeah, true.
But you love Thor.
Yeah, Thor's cool. I like Thor.
Okay,
he's from Asgard.
He's from Asgard. He is. Yeah. So moving on to Jon Favreau's next film. What do you think his next film was?
I'm gonna guess at Iron Man 2.
It was Iron Man 2.
Yes.
What's the story, my guy Monkey? I would like to know. Yes. What's the story of Iron Man 2?
Crap, wasn't it? I don't know.
It was crap, but
something to do with his father. Yeah, his father's passed or something. That's what
his father. Yeah, that's ages ago. Yeah, sure.
And Shield's involved somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the first kind of film where Marvel were building this cinematic universe, and I think they had too much interference in the film.
There we go.
Where they were trying to. They put in Black Widow, they put in tons of Nick Fury, and they're trying to say, "Oh, let's talk about Avengers Initiative. Let's try." When they should have just concentrated on Iron Man 2 as a film. Yeah. And this is the one where from Marvel, where I think they definitely dropped the ball on this one, where they tried to just build on the Avengers Initiative. Let's get Romanoff in. Let's get more Nick Fury and even Agent Coulson, and just kind of like they started to just say, "Oh yeah, you should be part of this thing," and then they take that opportunity away from him. Remember, they were saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, you're not stable enough to join the Avengers Initiative." They kind of like, and it became more about that than just a normal Iron Man story, what should have been the aftermath of him telling everyone he's Iron Man, having more kind of targets on his back, maybe, and then just having a solid Iron Man 2 story, because they've got really good because when this started, I think the concept was to do Demon in a Bottle, but what they eventually did, I think they so Demon in the Bottle comic book, and it talks more about kind of Tony Stark's alcoholism,
right,
and kind of the struggles with that. And I think if they'd gone through that early on, maybe Marvel may not have felt comfortable enough that this can now be sold. So they may have lost out on kind of merchandising. Kids don't want an alcoholic Tony Stark.
Yeah, that could have been
the film may not sold
for an early film when they're trying to get kids into it.
Yeah, because they need money. Because you can see why they go this fluffy route, because they need the money for the future films. They also need money for Marvel comics and from the merchandise and everything else. So I can see why they went for this fluffy kind of boring part 2, which was more just kind of like a trailer for potentially what a better film was about to come in the future. And this is one of those films where I think people saw and they thought, oh, we could do this. So Spider-Man 2 became like this. Batman v Superman became like this. We'll put in all this stuff. We'll talk about the next film, or we'll talk about a future film, and everyone loves it. Well, the reason why people watched this film was because the first one was so good.
Yeah.
Thor and Captain America were announced or were coming up, and so people came out to watch this one purely on the back of the first one being as good as it was.
Yeah.
I personally think because of that, this film suffers a lot, and it's unfortunate because there is a really good action sequence in the I think it's in the Lamars. Do you remember the bit where he's racing, and then Whiplash arrives, and then he slashes the car into half,
right?
And then, this is all in the trailer as well, by the way. And then he puts on the suit, but the suit is a briefcase. Do you remember this? Happy Hogan's just driving around with the suitcase, which is his Iron Man suit.
Right. Vaguely, yeah.
Well, him and Whiplash then have this big battle. All of that's really, really cool. That whole, all of that was good. But the thing that was kind of like uneventful is all the kind of Nick Fury stuff and the Romanoff stuff. All of that I think was quite boring. And then at the end, they have all the Iron Man suits fighting Iron Man and Rhodey. Because they're trying to get to what's name, Mickey Rourke's character. Do you remember any of this stuff? They were all just
I do vaguely remember it. Yeah,
it's such a bad film. You just kind of like blurred it out from your head.
Yeah, it's just been a while for me. It's not like I'd be rewatching Iron Man movies. Not
so
interested.
This one, based on kind of what you're saying, it follows a similar trend as well. So critically, on kind of Rotten Tomatoes, is sitting at about 73%. So I think people say they like
Still
this
not
one,
bad.
which is fresh. So based on, I think the reason why people say they like this one is purely off the back of the last one. I think people were like, the first one is amazing, and then they came into this. Yeah, and it's similar to when the very first Star Wars prequel came out. The critics were all like, this is the best film ever. This is really good. But then when people actually watched it, they're like, no, it's not that good. Same happened with the Indiana Jones. People are like, another incredible film. You know, it's amazing, all that kind of stuff. But actually, that last Indiana Jones film was rubbish. Because you got a nostalgia feeling for the previous one and you love the last one so much that when you go into the second one, you kind of give it a free pass.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt happened here, where people, if they watch it now, they would all be like, well, no, it wasn't that good. And I think the scores would be a lot lower. I definitely think this would be one of the rotten ones.
I also think some people just like action and they like their Iron Man. So that some people, especially kids as well, once they've seen the first movie and they know that it's good because their parents know it's good as well, and they go to see sequels, they just think, oh, it's Iron Man and it's action, so it's good. They don't really have to see past that to think it's a good movie.
Yeah, I think it also shows like the first one comes out and it's introduced this new character to people who may not be into the comics, and then he or she gets a sequel, and then the kids are clamoring for that toy and that thing. So regardless of how bad the film is, because they now got the toys and they got the merchandise, they come in with their little suits.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be disappointed when they see their favorite character now on the big screen.
And they've got their toy. They're flying their toy into some monster and blowing it up and stuff in their room.
Exactly.
They're already making up stories in their heads. So whatever they're going to see on the screen is going to be like, wow, yeah, it's as good as my story. I ever
dreamt. Exactly. So I think that's why the film, cost about 200 million, grossed 623 worldwide. It's actually, if you look at the numbers between 1 and 2, two's actually made less because it costs more money, and it grossed 40 million more, but it actually cost 60 million more to make. Plus, you chuck on marketing and stuff. So, to me, the first one I think made more money critically as well. Like, Rotten Tomatoes first one's sitting on 93. This is on about 73. So 20% drop is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's one of those examples where just like the cinematic universe, the people who sit upstairs, they just had too much interference, and they were too much like, we're building to the next film. We're building to the next film. So let's put this in. Let's put this in. And that's why
it didn't kill their franchise.
No, it didn't.
In that sense, although other films did that, and sort of they had the studio interference, they showed what that was ahead. All those franchises we usually talk about failed because then confidence was lost. So in this case, they really did the same thing as everyone else, but it's just because they had that. They had that confidence behind what was next to come. So even though it did drop a little bit, it didn't really matter because it did its job of selling the MCU that was to come, and they didn't give up on it. So
yeah, because then when Avengers finally came out, it was like, okay, so we've seen Iron Man 1, we've seen Iron Man 2, we've seen Cap, we've seen Thor. and they're almost like, here's 4 or 5 different trailers, and now you can watch the big film. And Avengers, I think, didn't disappoint when it first came out. It was a huge box office film. Everyone who went in and may have watched it the first time must have loved it, because I remember watching it, and I loved every bit of it, because now we had the full we had Hulk as well. Sorry, Hulk had a film as well. We had all those Avenger characters first come down for what was an event movie at that time. Never seen something like that before, and it was amazing. They built up slowly towards that,
and it was probably worth selling the fact that there was going to be this Avengers initiative, just so that it was in people's minds, ready for when it arrived. Otherwise, it might not have been as big of a success.
Yeah, sure. I think you had to sacrifice one of the films, so you couldn't do that in the very first Iron Man, because you want to make a good, strong origin story. Similar with, you couldn't introduce all of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything in a Cap film, because Cap actually was the first Avenger set back in time, and he gets his powers and he does fight with Red Skull. So you don't want to interfere with that. And then Thor's cosmic, so he shouldn't be. He's got links to S.H.I.E.L.D., but not in that way. So I think at some point, you're right, they had to have laid that foundation, and I think that film suffers from that. That one film had to be chosen to be kind of like just the middle ground for everything else.
And Jon Favreau pulled it off, really. I mean, he did what he trod that fine line. It didn't get like 50% scores, did it?
No, he still got a great rating. And so
it could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It could have been Sony's original Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Exactly.
It could have been Man of Steel. It could have been Batman v Superman. It could have been Justice League. There's so many bad films out there. It could have been any one of them. But it's instead Jon Favreau's next film. Quite neat little segue into what his next film is. Now, this one I don't think you've seen.
What, Iron Man 3?
No, he didn't do Iron Man 3.
Oh no.
Iron Man 3 was done by someone. Iron Man 3 was done by Shane Black. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Okay.
The guy who did Predators more recently. Jon Favreau's next film is a film called Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen it.
What's the story, My Guy Monkey? I would like to know.
Oh, well, I'm guessing aliens come to Earth, and the only people that can stop them are some cowboys.
That's right. So, yes, it's
It's
based on a graphic novel by the same name, Cowboys and Aliens, and it actually stars then James Bond, Daniel Craig, and Indiana Jones himself, Harrison Ford. So you've got a good star cast in this film.
Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for it years ago. Yeah, it did
yeah, and it's based in kind of a western, because it's cowboys, and it's a terrible film. What can I say? It's I think it's based in like the 1870s or something. Daniel Craig literally he's in the desert. He wakes up and he's got some sort of thing around him, and this gauntlet or this wrist can do all sorts of clever things. And you've also got Harrison Ford. He's just kind of like, he's there. And to be fair, there's so many ways they could actually do a western with aliens landing that could be really cool. Yeah. Most of the time when we see these kind of comic book films or invasion films, they're more present day or futuristic. But actually having aliens land when we were more primitive as a concept is kind of is a much better idea. Because it's like, how do we outsmart them? How do we come back to them when we don't have weapons of mass destruction? When we don't have spaceships and they have spaceships, how do we bring them in? When we've only got horses?
Yeah, it's more like using our humanity. What do we do rather than just the technology? Yeah,
and I think, as a premise, it actually is a good idea. But it's a terrible film.
Well, it looks like a cheaply made film. That's what it is.
It's not. It's $163 million budgeted film.
It looks like a cheap bit of fun, but with stars in it.
I mean,
It does, and it did look like fun. Was it fun? You've seen it then?
No, it's not.
It's not
I
even fun.
remember. I remember maybe there's a couple of jokes in the film.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fun at all. I don't know what it was like, because when you think about Jon Favreau, just come off Iron Man, so he took a comic book and he turned the character into a film. It's a solid film. He took the sequel, he did something similar. It's a good film. Takes another kind of comic book in this graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, and you at this point you think he's got the magic touch, right? He's done Elf, he's done these two films. He should be able to turn this around. So they give him the money. They go away, make a film. But I just think you got these two people. I never thought Daniel Craig's that charismatic. Like Harrison Ford on screen is charismatic, maybe not in real life, but they can hold the film together. Or you could Sam Rockwell's in the film as well, and he's really good in most of his films. And for some reason, it just felt very flat, very wooden. It's almost like they were just saying lines for the sake of it. Together, there's no chemistry. Like, we talk about Tom Holland.
They're both straight men. Like, they're both like very serious.
Exactly.
They can't really. I can't see how they could actually be funny together. Because
like Will Smith compliments Tommy Lee Jones in that manner. Yeah. Jackie Chan and even Chris Tucker. Like, if you're going to have a double act, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, you could have two funny men. But if you're going to have two straight men, it doesn't really work. No. You need a good balance.
Weirdly, unless you're out to make a very serious film, then no, it's not going to work, is it?
Exactly.
Because I can imagine this being a great film for like comedy. You just had the word Cowboys versus aliens. It sounds ridiculous.
Yes,
it should be ridiculous. It should be that. Was it Colin Farrell back again? Is that the guy bring him in there. Just make.
If Colin Farrell was one of the characters, and maybe the other person could have been Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
and Harrison Ford could be the straight guy.
Being the straight guy off against Colin Farrell would be great. He'd be brilliant at that. Yeah, you'd see the funny.
Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
Steve Carell,
Ryan Gosling.
And Ryan Gosling could be a straight man, but also he'll get the ladies in, because let's be honest, who wouldn't watch a film with Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, he'll be the cowboy.
Yeah, or he could be the alien. Why not? Like, there's a whole species of Ryan Goslings out there, just colonizing other worlds.
Which one is the alien?
Neither of them. They're both cowboys.
Had a feeling.
they were just there fighting against the Cowboys. I mean, currently sitting on Rotten Tomatoes about 45%. So this was his first major kind of like rotten film, if you want to say that. It even shows like it's approximate 163 million budget. It's a huge budget film, and it grossed like 174. So it's considered one of the biggest flops of all time, because when you add in marketing, you add in all your other kind of bits you add on top of that film, it has to gross maybe 2 or 3 times its budget before it can be classed as break even. So that film's lost a lot of money, and considering the star power of it all as well. Yeah.
So a flop for that one.
Yeah. So this is one of those that I'd say, don't even bother. Forget about it. It's in our rating system.
Yeah. I guess so. I guess I'd have to say the same.
So John,
it does make me curious though.
Yeah, because you think
of the movie. I want to see how bad it is now.
You know what? I wouldn't want to put someone through it, because I think it's. Let me just see how long I think it's about 2 and a bit hours. It's quite. It didn't seem that kind of. No, it's 2 hours. Okay, no. I guess if you got 2 hours to spare and literally got nothing else to do, just watch it. But
could it ever become a cult classic, do you think?
No,
because it's that bad.
No,
it's so bad. It's good.
No, I don't think it's going to be like the film The Room, where people do a yearly kind of watchings of it. It's not like that.
It's got Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford in.
Yeah, but Daniel Craig's not a good actor. Let's be
I know,
honest.
but just those two, well, him, the bad actor, and with Harrison Ford, yeah, it sounds like it could get a cult following someday.
No,
I don't think after Running Man.
No, I don't think this would ever get that. I think it's just one of those films that's been made and people just forgotten about it, and let's just put it away. Never talk about it again.
Okay, I'm going to recommend.
You're going to recommend
this
it
after Blade. Watch Blade rather than watch Aliens, Cowboys versus Aliens, because it
because of Harrison Ford. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's the Harrison Ford trilogy. Then watch Star Wars. I don't know.
That makes absolutely no sense, because why wouldn't you watch Indiana Jones? Because he's a cowboy in this. He's closer to being an archaeologist.
Yeah, true. It's too.
He's got similar outfits.
Keep it sci-fi. Keep it aliens.
Keep it sci-fi. Well, then you can watch the last Indiana Jones, right? That's sci-fi. It's got aliens.
Which one? The fourth one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I heard it's so bad.
That's like this film. It's that bad.
Okay.
So Jon Favreau, so far, he's had some critical acclaim. His films have done well. This is his first huge failure. He then follows it up with a film that got turned into a TV show that I've been talking about a lot. Okay. And I'm hoping you've either heard of this film or you are aware of it. It's called Chef.
Chef, yes, I've heard of this.
Yes.
You talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I do. So what's the story of MyGuy Monkey? I would like to know.
What, the story of Chef?
Chef, yeah.
Don't they make food?
They do make food, yeah.
Wow, there's a movie about that.
And there's a whole movie about it.
That's incredible. And they make food with stars and talk about their...
No, that's the TV show. That's not the film.
The film.
You get the two. I talk about the TV show a lot, yes.
Is it not like the film? Do they not talk?
They do. No, not quite. No.
Okay.
So it stars Jon Favreau. Look at the star cast is great, right? Some of these people.
He stars himself. Okay.
Yes, and he directed it himself.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There's a ton of kind of other actors in this as well. So it's got Sofia Vergara. I'm not sure her real surname. Sorry, but she's from Modern Family. There's got John. I'm gonna get his surname wrong as well. Leguizamo, something like that. But I think that's wrong. Yes, Legolas. Scarlett Johansson, Olivia Platt, Dustin Hoffman, Robert Downey Jr. So got some good backing, but it's basically it's a story about a chef. He has an alteration with a food critic and quits his job at a restaurant, and he starts by operating a food truck with his son, and it's kind of like the journey of father-son story, but also kind of father teaching son how to do basic food, and in that kind of learning about each other, and then his son, as in, what would happen in real life, his son then teaches his dad how to market the food truck, and and it becomes an advert for Twitter by the end of the film, and they start tweeting stuff around, here.
Because the kid knows everything about technology.
Of course, every kid knows everything about technology, and every old man knows nothing about technology. But it's a really good film. There's a bit where he's making a grilled cheese, and the way he spins it around and where he makes it, it's incredible. For a vegetarian, it was a film that made me very hungry. I appreciated the way they marinate and they made the food. But yeah, so he's quit his job. He's bought a food truck, and then they're driving around and they're going to do this thing. And they use Twitter to buzz up kind of interest for the food truck, and that's what the film's about. And then I think he then opens a restaurant at the very end of the film, but he also turns he meets the guy again. What's his name? The food critic, and he turns him around. They kind of have a you're good kind of moment. Your food has always been great.
Yeah, here's a knobhead.
Exactly. But it's got a good star cast. It's a really good film. And considering kind of like where he's come off, like Iron Man 2, Cowboys v Aliens, and even prior to that, Zathura, these films all had like huge budgets. So he's now gone back to more of his indie roots, and this film had like a $11 million budget.
Yeah,
it's a lot smaller than what he's worked with before. And I think he just kind of wanted to get away from kind of making these kind of tentpole films, which had studios saying, do this, do that. We want you to kind of work in a certain way. And he just thought, let me go make a film that I want to make. And I'll make it so small that studios and no one will interfere because it's such a small film. And I think he did it, and I think he does it incredibly well. It's such a good film. And it's obviously spun off a TV show, which I talk about a lot, which I've finished now. And it's such a good TV show as well. I mean, he's got a lot of fun people who come on and they show you these techniques on how to cook food and what he does. It's amazing.
Is Jon Favreau the chef in the series as well?
Yeah. He's got a consultant who was in the film, and he follows that. Him and that consultant are the guys on the TV show. Jon Favreau cooks. The other guy cooks with him as well, and then they go see other celebrities. They also go see other chefs, and they pick up techniques from those people as well, who will teach them how to cook a certain dish in a certain way. It's very fascinating. It's a really, really good show. And the movie as well, if you haven't seen it, it is a really good film. I mean, ignoring the fact that he doesn't know what Twitter is, and his son teaches him how to tweet and drum up business and stuff. It is actually a really, really good film. It's a charming, fun kind of film. It's not comedy, but it's got enough fun bits, and it's actually a really good story about kind of father-son relationship as well. When you kind of like lost that relationship, a different way of kind of rebuilding that as well and obviously he's going through divorce and messy stuff, and it's really good.
I mean, that stuff sounds really good. It sounds like it's a very personal film about relationships, really.
And I think that's what Favreau wanted. Just go back to basics, do a film where I could just kind of make it about me, maybe, and then introduce this other story, these other elements where it's just about me and my son, and how we would kind of come together, what we'd bond over, what we would kind of be able to teach each other. Because while he teaches his son about cooking, where to buy produce, what kind of things to look out for, his son's teaching him about technology, and his son's able to kind of like help him with his journey as well, like in terms of work and where you can drum up business. So I think it's a really, really clever story, and I like that there's a lot more to it than just kind of like it's a chef van. They go from here to there, and they sell lots of food.
It's kind of like it turns around to it's more about a relationship rather than just being the father passing on stuff to his son. He discovers there's actually it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay. Would you recommend watching it?
Oh, highly recommend. I mean, this currently sits on like 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. But so based on our kind of coveted thing, this would be watched in the cinema. Currently, it's not available in cinema, obviously. So if you can get hold of it anyway, VOD or from kind of, you can watch it on iTunes or something, or from Amazon Prime somehow, watch it. Definitely recommend this film. Very, very good film.
I recommend you watch it on your phone while getting a takeaway from a burger van.
You know what? You're so right.
It sounds like you'll get an appetite.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's the way he just spins this cheese, this grilled cheese down. Now, I think I watched that a couple of times. I mean, for most people, they're all like, "Oh my God, Scarlett Johansson's in his bed." I'm like, "No, did you see the cheese, the grilled cheese? Look how good it looks." It's just, and he spun it around and stuff, and I was like,
"They should cut that together for an advert." Do you think? He makes her a pasta, I think, and the pasta looked amazing. But the way he did that was great. And they toast the bread and stuff. Oh, it's amazing. I think it's a film that I would say, you're right. Go get some food, slowly devour your meal while you're watching this film. It's that kind of film. It's really good. So after Jon Favreau made the film Chef,
what do you think his next film was?
Maybe give me multiple choice.
So this next film is going to be another adaptation of a book. It has the word book in the title as well.
Oh, no, you're making it sound so easy.
And the first word is the.
Is it the book?
There's a word in between. There's just one word you have to get.
The Green Book? Is there a Green?
That's a good film, but no, we're not talking Green Book.
Oh, what other movies are there?
The something book.
The first letter. What? What's the first letter of the next word?
The first letter is the letter J.
J. The Jungle Book.
Yes! He made 2016's The Jungle Book. Yeah, you got one.
Was that the Disney one or the other one?
That's the Disney one, not the film Mowgli, which was done by the Warner Brothers one. No, this is the Disney one, which came out 2016. Yes.
Excellent. This one.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so what's the story, My Guy Monkey? I would like to know.
That's another question. Well, obviously, Jungle Book.
Yes.
It's a remake of the classic Disney version of the Jungle Book.
Yes, it is.
Which is where a kid gets brought up by, in the wild.
Yeah. By wolves.
Hangs out with a bear. Yeah, maybe wolves.
No, he gets brought up by wolves.
Lions, does he? Well, wolves, yeah. And then he runs away he wants to go visit the human town, the human world. And a whole load of animals get in his way. And some think that they shouldn't go back to the human world, that humans are no good.
I think you're doing such a good job.
Is that right?
He gets found by Bagheera, and I think it's in the cartoon it's slightly different because they have a chat and then they drop him off to the wolves where he grows up with the wolves. But then
that's right, yeah.
As he gets older, and they find out that that Shere Khan is he's around and basically wants to eat the cub. Then Bagheera goes back and says, "You need to go to the human village because they'll look after you and they'll be able to protect you from Shere Khan." And it's that journey of leaving or trying to leave the jungle. But on the way, he meets Baloo, and he sees Baloo and goes, "Oh, this is the best thing ever! Like I could the bare necessities is the best thing in the world, right? Just chill out. Yeah, basically, I'm just going to chill with you." And he loves it. We see King Louis. And then and a bit more, and then he fights Shere Khan at the end, and that's kind of the film.
Yeah.
Now, you remember the original cartoon because you mentioned that very briefly.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you see? My problem with this one is we grew up and there was this cartoon for which we may have seen on TV, or we had something called a VCR for people who don't know, and I had a copy of this recording of TV, I think, and so I knew the songs.
Yeah.
So I love the songs. So I love. There's the elephant one, which is good. I loved. My favorite is the King Louis one. But watching the live action and seeing the bare necessities done by Bill Murray, it seemed very lazy.
Yeah.
I felt like he wasn't singing it the way I had heard it for years and years, and the way I loved it. And similar to Christopher Walken doing the King Louis again, something I loved and was so iconic to me growing up that I saw this version and I didn't like it. I genuinely did not like this film.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the problem I had. I had the same reaction really. All of the songs that they put in that were from the original they tried to do it in a different way that just didn't work. It's very, very dark and sometimes scary. The film. Yes,
I think this film is a lot darker than the cartoon is.
And it should be about fun. That's what Disney musical films are about. It should be about singing along and having fun, not scaring the little kids with a live action tiger that looks like it's actually going to kill someone.
I mean, the star cast. I mean, if vocal talent. I wouldn't say star cast. I mean, the vocal talent is incredible. You got Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, the girl who plays Okoye, Scarlett Johansson, Christopher Walken. So many incredible like vocal characters. But the film is just it's a child wearing nothing more than just a pair of shorts running through a CGI jungle. So imagine like you have this conversation and he goes home and his wife's like, "Hey John, how's work?" "Well, I'm just filming this little boy walking around this fake jungle." Like,
green screen.
It's so creepy, right? And then I'm just going to CGI everything around him. I genuinely did not like this film, and I think it's purely because of nostalgia. And we grew up watching an animated film, which in our eyes is a classic. And it may be flawed. It may not have a good story through line. And it just jumps from place to place to place. But we grew up watching that, and the songs were amazing.
Yeah, that's the very sort of early days of Disney remaking their films. It didn't set a good precedent for like live action.
Yeah, and it's not. It's weird because the child
it was barely live action, barely.
Yeah, that's the thing. The child is real. Everything else around him is just CGI. So, yes, it's live action in the sense that it's got a real kid in the film, but it's all CGI. So it's computer generated.
It's not 2D animated, and it's also not like Pixar, very obviously animated sort of 3D. It's trying to go for realism.
Yes, exactly.
So it's almost live action, but it's a shame because obviously we spoke a few weeks ago that I found Aladdin worked quite well on those levels. So it is possible to do it right.
I think it's one of those difficult things because there's in a cartoon when a hand-drawn lion or hand-drawn bear talks, it's okay, we can find that acceptable. But when we see a CGI version and you have to move the mouth
and they're trying to make it realistic,
mouth out those words, I don't think it works yet. I don't think they've nailed that. Like,
it goes into the uncanny valley where it's kind of too close to.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Because it's de-aging someone. Like when we saw Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel, like Samuel L. Jackson doesn't age in real life anyway, but he looks amazing, and his facial expressions, everything works really well. But when you turn it around and it's in my opinion, when it's an animal, and it could be a wolf, it could be any of them, it just doesn't work. And then when you hear them doing new versions of these original songs that we've grown and loved, and they've changed them completely, I just didn't like it. I think, and it's a darker film. For some reason, it seems like it's shot at night instead of, it's not bright and vibrant. Like a jungle should be bright green. And it should have other colors and beautiful flowers and stuff around it. And you can have danger and peril during the day. He can be chased by stuff. But it just felt like a dark film. Like it was a dark, gritty reboot like they were going for or something.
I think they can have as realistic as possible animals animated if they want to. But like you say, it needs to be bright. It needs to be vibrant. It needs to make sure that it adds all of the fun elements and joy that captures the sort of the original and what it's supposed to be about. With the realism in this, it's just too scary. Like you just don't want to see animals looking scary. You want to see them smiling. Make them smile all the time. Make them fun. Make them a bit more likable. And just don't have to scary stuff. No, it's not good.
Yeah, no, everything has to be scary. I think what they did was with this film, they thought let's see how it works. They, CGI and computer animation has advanced so much that it looks so real. Like when Mowgli's there and there could be someone in the background that's got those dots which they use for Gollum, it looks real. Everything looks amazing. But for what it is, the story is very different. The songs aren't that good. And actually watching the characters open their mouth and trying to word out the words, I didn't enjoy it. I know critically this was, I think it's sitting at like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. So critically, people loved it. It cost 175 million and it grossed 966 million worldwide. So commercially, a huge box office hit. So even audiences would have liked this film, but just
they
my
went
personal
to see
preference.
It, but I don't know. I don't know why people. Some people just like what they see and they think they're supposed to like it. I think. I don't know how they could enjoy it really. I mean, unless just thinking, oh, I'm going to see the latest in technology, and they look at it and go, yeah, well, that's the latest in technology. Tick, fine, I like it. Apart from that, it's got nothing to it that's enjoyable.
No, I think sometimes you get you can see something and then you're like, wow, that was amazing. But I guess if you look back at it years to come, will people look back and say, you know what, Jungle Book was such a good remake that holds up over the animated film? I personally don't think it will. I think some people will.
We'll
I know. Here we are banging on about how rubbish this 95%. But again, it doesn't always necessarily mean critics are right. I mean, the Transformers films are critically, hated, but yet they make
rating.
They make $1 billion. So, sorry.
Is there a user rating for Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes, there is, but I don't know what it is.
You don't
for
have
Jungle
it.
Book. I do. So for the new Jungle Book, it was 86%, just slightly less than what the thingy said.
Okay, so it's still quite good. It's better than it really should be. But there you go. Who are we to say what other people's opinions should be?
For me, this is one of those films that I would never say seek out and watch.
Yeah.
If you literally have some free time on your hands, this is one I'd say, watch. In the background or something. Yeah, I genuinely.
I wouldn't say that.
I didn't like it that much. I don't know why.
I'd say never ever watch this movie.
Never ever watch it.
What you should do is go out, buy yourself a VCR, a VHS player, rather than see this movie.
Oh, watch this!
And buy the original on VHS.
on
I'd
eBay.
rather you did. You should do. It's better for your time to go out and do all of that. Maybe even get an old tube telly as well, so that you can all attach it all up together.
Can enjoy it the way it should.
Watch the original. Don't watch this crap. Sorry, don't watch it. It's a 0 for me, not 85, not 95.
So that's our review of Jungle Book done.
Don't forget to pay us Jungle Book, Disney. Thanks.
That's right. We're in the pocket of big corporations. And then that nicely moves us into the Jon Favreau film, which is The Lion King.
Okay.
Which we haven't seen. It comes out this weekend. This time it's like $250 million, so it's $250 million budget film. And it already has critics. Critics have already seen it, so they've reviewed it already, and it's got percentage.
What's it got?
Well, we're going to play this game, and then you will tell me what it is.
Tell on the percentage.
So currently, Disney has started to roll out more and more live action films.
Yep.
And I've listed them all here, so you don't have to worry. Okay. I'm going to tell you what they are, and we're going to play rotten or fresh, based on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Some of these films you may not have seen, but I want you to guess. I'm not going to give you any clues. Just going to give you the name.
Remake or the originals?
Just the live action remakes, because Lion King is a live action remake, and today's topic is all about Disney's. Just Disney's live action remakes.
I think they're all going to be fresh. Well, critics are loving it.
Critics are loving it. So you're going to tell me, right? So
Jungle Book.
In some cases, I'll give you the budget, and then I'll tell you how much it made, and then you can guess. So that might be a clue to what to say. Okay. So the first one on the list, live action, is Jungle Book. Was it rotten or fresh?
I know this one already, don't I?
But what was it? Critics.
I want to say rotten, but it is fresh. Fucking rotten film. Sorry.
So let's just take a step back. We're talking about the 1994 Jungle Book, which came out and cost 30 million. That's right. Not the 2016. We're not going backwards. We're going oh. So it cost 30 million. Worldwide gross of about 43 million. So rotten. Critical response. What are you saying?
Let's say rotten.
And audience?
Fresh.
Okay, so it's the other way around. Critical response for this was fresh, and audiences didn't like this one.
What is wrong with the critics of this film?
They love the 1994 version.
They love every remake of this stuff.
What you're about to find out. So the next one on the list was in 1996. It's 101 Dalmatians. A budget of about 75 million. Glenn Close got nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actress. Grossed 320 million US worldwide. Okay. Critical response.
A Golden Globe. I'll give it a fresh. They must have
fresh for critical and audience. 320 million worldwide. What are audiences thinking?
Fresh.
I have to say both are rotten. So rotten critically and rotten.
I'm doing well.
So 39% for critical and 40% audience for 101 Dalmatians. Excellent. 102 Dalmatians came out 2000.
This is my chance to score, I hope.
This currently, it cost about 85 million to make, just a little bit more, but still grossed over 183 million worldwide.
Double rotten.
Double rotten. This time you got it right. It was rotten.
I've got 2 out of 6.
So the way it works is it has to be 60% above to be fresh. Alice in Wonderland 2010, a budget of 200 million. This is the Tim Burton one with Johnny Depp, and it grossed over $1 billion worldwide. 1.025 billion.
Double fresh.
This was double rotten. 51% critics, 55 audience.
I hated it. I didn't think it was that bad.
It was terrible. It was the time with James Cameron's Avatar just come out as the 3D, and people started. They were just doing the 3D on every film, right? So they're just tacking it on. They're doing that conversion, and this was one of the first films to have that 3D element chucked on it after.
So it's a pioneer.
No, this is the one that got everyone wanted to see another 3D film because of James Cameron. James Cameron does an actual 3D film, and it looked amazing. Rubbish film, but it actually looked great. And then everyone was like, "Oh, we want to see more 3D." And then this film came along, and it became a big hit because of that. I don't think Alice in Wonderland was that good. I agree with everyone. The next film is Angelina Jolie in Maleficent. It cost approximately 180 to 260 million, but it grossed 750 worldwide. Yeah. Angelina Jolie. Critics love her, don't they? Okay. So what do you think?
Double fresh.
Critics said rotten. Audiences said fresh.
Yes. I'm with you, audience.
The next was Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, starred Lily James. This film cost 100 million and grossed 540 worldwide. Cinderella.
I don't know. Double rotten.
2015. Oh, you haven't. 2015 grossed 543 million worldwide. Critical response was fresh. Audience response was fresh.
Oh, I lost again.
So this now brings us into Jungle Book, which we've already done 2016, not 1994. 2016, you've already done that one.
I'm going to go double rotten. No.
It's double fresh. The next one is Alice Through the Looking Glass. 2016's Alice. So this one grossed 300 million worldwide.
To the last one.
Yes, but it's not Tim Burton directed film.
It's got to be double fresh again, right?
This is double rotten again.
Alice double rotten.
Do you not remember? Alice in Wonderland was double rotten. Alice Looking the Glass was double. So this one was the worst. This is 29% critical. And in terms of audience, is 48%. So, terrible. Yeah. That leads us into 2017's Beauty and the Beast, starring Emma Watson and Dan Stevens. It is, it cost like 250 million. It grossed 1.2 billion worldwide, and it is a double fresh. Seen that one? Okay, what about this one? Christopher Robin. 2018's Christopher Robin starred Ewan McGregor, Hayley Atwell. Cost 75 million. It grossed just under 200 million worldwide. Highest grossing Winnie the Pooh film of all time.
Yeah, let's go double fresh.
You sure?
I've got nothing to lose at this point.
You're right, yes. Critically, this was 72%. Audiences loved it as well. Double fresh.
I remember people recommending it a little bit to me, so...
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
But it's weird, because it's like... it should be a kid's film, and you're following Ewan McGregor as a grown-up Christopher Robin. and he's in the real world, and he's got real issues with like work, and he's got kids, he's got a wife, and all of that's kind of like, I don't really want to see that in my 100-acre wood. I just want to see Winnie the Pooh adventures, and they come to the real world and stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's obviously it's not the original animation.
No.
It's a new
story. But it's a live action remake. The next one brings us to Tim Burton's Dumbo 2019. So that was this year.
No. Oh no.
That was just this year.
I know people that like this movie, and I don't know how they can like it.
You've seen it.
Double Rotten, I've seen it.
Double Rotten. Yes, it was 46% and 51 audience. So yeah, you're right. The next one brings us to another film you've seen. Okay, this one is Aladdin, 2019's Aladdin.
Oh, that's hard though, because did people like it or not?
Well, go with your gut. Did you like it or not?
Yeah, I did. So it's fresh, isn't it?
No, critical response was rotten.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
But
you told me to do my gut. You tricked me.
I know. Audience, on the other hand, audience was it was fresh.
I was kind of thinking.
That kind of brings us into the latest Lion King. Now, currently, there's no audience score for Lion King as of today, but there is a critical response. So where do you think it is so far?
I reckon they're just going to go fresh because they it's like Jungle Book. Lion King was such a big movie. They just give it fresh. Maybe Disney put the money their way.
They could have, but it's currently sitting at 58%, so that's classed as rotten.
Nice.
So the current version, the 2019 one, is sitting at rotten.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes the same way as Aladdin, that might mean it's good. So
it could do, yeah. I mean, critical response for Aladdin was terrible, 57%.
Yeah.
But audiences loved it at 94%. So yeah,
good.
If we were to compare the original Lion King to this current Lion King, so critical response back in the day was 93%, and I'd agree with that. I think it was incredible. The original Lion King animated, right?
Yeah.
1994, and audience was 93% as well.
Yeah.
So I would definitely highly recommend the original over this one. I said I wouldn't even bother. I haven't even seen this one.
Yeah.
But knowing that I've seen Jungle Book, and it's the same director, I like Jon Favreau. I would say avoid Lion King.
That's kind of writing him off because Jungle Book was their first recent attempt at rebooting. So maybe they've learned. I was hoping they've learnt lessons and it would be as
There's
good
been loads of live action reboots. We just went through them all.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just hoping they learn something because Aladdin did okay. Well, I think it was good.
Aladdin's sitting on 900 million worldwide. I think it's done a little bit better than all right. I think it's done really well. Beauty and the Beast was 1.2 billion.
And that did okay. Yeah,
that did really well. Jungle Book made 900.
I mean, in my eyes, it was okay.
Okay.
It was okay.
I think avoid the Lion King. I hate to say it. I love the original.
Well, I'm going to see it anyway to see what they do with it. But I think, when you think back to the animals in Jungle Book, if they don't humanize them well in Lion King and make them likable, then it's going to fail. But you know what? Cats can look real cute if they try. It's hard on the fence with this one. We're just going to have to see. It's going to be have to go and see it and find out.
I think what I find a bit interesting about the marketing is they put these people's names on the poster.
Yeah.
And the Lion King is all CGI and it's all kind of computer generated, right? So all the person is doing is sat in a booth and he or she is saying some lines that they've been told to say. It's not your performance that's coming across. Jon Favreau is doing all of that. Yeah. It's a bit of facial, but
I disagree
generally
with that. I think there's a lot of personality comes through the voice if it's done right. Obviously, if it's not done well and people don't put in the effort, then it will be bad. But that's down to the personal actor.
But then that's down to the animation team to bring in that
and the director.
So I think the heavy emphasis on this, and it's got an incredible voice talent behind it. But actually, the animation team and the director are more than 2/3 of this film.
Yeah,
I know they put and I love Donald Glover. You got Beyonce. You got Earl Jones is back. And Mufasa's back, and it's not got Rowan Atkinson anymore, and it doesn't have Whoopi Goldberg, or Jeremy Irons. But they've replaced them with incredible actors. But for me, it's more them than it is this. So people getting all excited that Beyonce is a character in this film. She's not really a lion in real life. She's not the one who put on this outfit, and people just getting all like, oh yeah, she's in the film. She's not really in the film. It's just, it's like listening to her CD while I'm driving my car. It doesn't mean she's in my car. She's just background noise.
Are you sure though?
She's definitely not in my car.
She's not in the back of your car.
No, there's more. I mean, that's a possibility. That's a
banging sound.
So now, quickly before we finish, we'll just quickly do some upcoming live action films. Right now, none of these you've seen. Obviously not, because they're not out yet. I'm going to tell you the names, and if you need any kind of help, I'll tell you a little bit about them. But you then just got to say audience response, which is you. Are you going to say it's fresh or rotten? Okay, you're going to future your future review in these films. Okay, the first one on the list is October 2019's Maleficent 2.
I'm going to call it. I might just give you my own opinion.
Just your own opinion. I'm interested in rotten or fresh.
Let's give it a fresh Maleficent. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to give all these fresh.
Okay, Lady and the Tramp. Now that's not even getting a cinematic release. It's going straight to the new Disney streaming service, November 2019.
Disney, you disappoint me. Rotten. I would have given it fresh if it was in the cinema. I want to see it. I'm not buying Disney service to see one film.
Next is March 2020's Mulan.
Fresh.
So this is getting a cinematic release. I've seen the new trailer for this film.
Yeah.
The trailer looks good, but there's no Mushu the dragon. So I'm on the fence. Without Mushu.
No. Without Mushu the dragon? Rotten.
Yeah, exactly. I swayed you that quickly. Next is December 2020's Cruella.
Cruella. So that's 101 Dalmatians, basically.
That's right. And it's starring Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Okay. Well, I think it's going to be fresh.
Okay, so that's December next year. And then they've announced some others we just don't have dates for, so I'll just kind of rattle them off and then you just tell me what you think. The Sword in the Stone, which is going to the new Disney streaming service as well.
Rotten.
Little Mermaid, they've done some announcements of potential people who could be in this film. They've announced who's going to play Ariel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought Grace Moretz was supposed to do it, but things have changed, haven't they?
Yes.
So I'll still call it fresh. I think it's going to be a good movie.
Okay.
Underwater works very well for animation. So that mix of animation and live action.
Underwater live action with CGI fish.
Yeah.
Okay. So
CGI always works with underwater.
Of course it does. Look at Aquaman.
Just look back at Finding Nemo, one of the earliest 3D animations.
Yes, that was an incredible film.
And again with Little Mermaid, early 2D animation with animals. So it always works. Fresh.
Next one on the list is Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I'm going to call this rotten.
Okay. Next one is Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch fresh.
I know, it's such a good cartoon, though.
Is it coming to the cinema, though? For sure.
It'll be a live-action film, yes. It's not got Disney streaming service against it.
Good.
I love the cartoon.
Yeah, it's great.
I've seen Stitch in Time. I've seen the other bits. I loved it. It's all about family. If they can somehow...
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to do, because Stitch is the only animated character in all of Hawaii. And then it's just kind of the other aliens that you could chuck in there. So this kind of works better than Jungle Book or Lion King, because it's not just a whole animated world around him that you have to CGI.
Yeah, it's animated. It could be like Detective Pikachu.
Exactly, yeah, exactly like that. And you're going to come up against other aliens, because that's what Stitch does. Stitch Can't remember what number he is, but he's one of those inventions and experiments. So there's a whole heap of other experiments that they can come up against.
Yeah.
I love Lilo and Stitch. I don't know if I want to see a live action though. I'd have to see the trailer before I decide. But yeah, right now that would be fresh for me as well.
You don't want to kill it though.
Exactly. And then next one, next three, Jungle Book sequel.
Rotten
Straight away. Pinocchio.
Fresh. Gotta love Pinocchio. Ooh. Come on.
And then the next one has one of two titles. So far, they're talking about calling it Rose Red or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Okay. So from the title Rose Red, I'm going to assume it's Snow White now.
It is. Both of those titles are Snow White.
Snow White. Okay. Oh, fresh or rotten?
Yes.
Let's call it. No, I don't know really. They're going to use real dwarves, real small people.
I don't know. They didn't do it in the Huntsman, so I don't know.
I mean, is that going to work? Let's go for rotten because I'm going to put it at the 55%.
Brilliant. So it's a real mixed bag with these live action films, and even looking at the future, what you kind of. Yeah, and even based on the future ones that you've already reviewed, they are going to be hit and miss going forward as well.
Very much so. You just don't know, and to be honest, I was looking forward to what they might do with a Lion King, but seeing how Jon Favreau we've been talking about today?
Yes, we have.
Got his name right. Looking at his hit and miss films when he's got studio involvement.
Yeah.
This is a studio involvement film. It might fail. It might not be good. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Oh, poor Favreau. He's gonna cry into his millions.
Favreau, you just gotta man up and just pursue your vision. Don't get your stuff ruined by the production companies. It's not good.
Well, that's with those thoughts. We'll move on to our next segment.
You're such a good writer director, Jon Favreau. You can really do it. You can.
You can. We have trust in you. Just leave the big budget, big studio work behind and concentrate on anything you want to work on.
Chasing tail. Look, Aunt Maida, she's a distraction.
It is. And so there ends our Jon Favreau and live action Disney remakes review. We get to our first segment.
That covered a lot of areas.
Oh, we did, yeah, because he's done a lot of work there. We talk about a lot of Disney stuff in that one. So let's do our first segment, which is MyGuy Quick Reviews. We talk about stuff that we've been up to in the last week: films, shows, books, games, anything we played. So, let's start with yourself. What's going on?
Well, I've been a bit busy this week, so I didn't make it to the cinema. And I wanted to watch Apollo. Is it Apollo 11? Is that Apollo 10? Which is like it's almost like a documentary, isn't it? Yeah. So I was interested in that, and also the film we talked about the other day, Annabelle Creation.
Comes home, yeah. Annabelle Comes Home, yeah. It's not Spider-Man, but yeah. I know we referred it to the MCU Avengers Assembled, but
so I really hope to see that. But yeah, I've been too busy to get there this week, so hopefully maybe next week. But I think Apollo's going to be out of the cinema by then. So
I think it's limited time only documentary.
Yeah, so I might not get to see that, which is a shame. I can move on to video games, but have you got any?
I've been. I don't think I've seen any films this week, but I have been watching this TV show by David Fincher. So the guy who directed and kind of worked with stuff like Seven, Fight Club, The Game, Panic Room, Zodiac. A case of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, also Gone Girl, loads of adaptations and stuff. Yeah. Him and I can't remember his name. Tim Miller, that's it. They've got the show on Netflix called Love, Death and Robots. and it's an anthology show. And each episode is not that long. They're all animated.
Okay.
One episode's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Topher Grace, but everything else is just all animated episodes, and they're no longer than 20 minutes, and they're really, really good. Because it's almost like you've gone away and you've gone, let's go 18 episodes. You guys, you do this one, you do this one, and they just gone off on their own and built. Maybe someone sat on top and gave them an idea, but they've kind of done their own stories. Kind of, I hate comparing it with Black Mirror, but it is that sort of premise where in some cases the technology is advanced, in some cases they're in a different universe, in some cases it's a future Earth, it's all sorts of stuff, and it's really, I watched it, I loved it, and I can't believe that it sat on my watch list for so long. But they have renewed it for a second season, so I'm really excited for that. This is one I rarely watch shows when they first come out. I always like to put it on my list, and then I'll watch one episode, then I slowly get through it. I found myself binge watching this one. I watched the whole hour of this stuff.
Wow.
And in that hour you could end up going through 4 or 5 episodes, because they could be about 10 minutes long. I think there's a couple of episodes that are about 6 minutes long.
Wow.
So before you know, you've seen 4 or 5 episodes of the season. I think I've still got 6 more to go. There's 18 in a season. Well worth watching. Really, really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I like the idea of sort of short episodes, because you can just sort of put the idea straight out there. You don't have to fluff around and make more of it than you have to. I take it that each episode has a nice little sort of story of its own.
Yes, they're all self-contained, and the animation styles are very different. So there'll be I don't know who or the studios that work on it, but there'll be the director that'll have his acting crew, and they'll work on this script and this story, and then you'll see a second one, and you'll see it's so different. And it's visually, it's incredible. I genuinely really, really like this one. It's a really good, and it's and I know obviously we've seen Black Mirror, but for something like this, there's never been anything like this before, I think. And yeah, I loved it. Highly can't praise it enough.
Yeah, I mean, shortest episode is 6 minutes long. I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, and I think the longest is 17 minutes, something like that. So they're not long at all. You'll whiz through episodes in no time.
Yeah, really good if you've got a spare 20 minutes then to just put one on.
Oh yeah, you could, if you got 20 minutes, you might even watch 2. Yeah, because you might be lucky you get 2 8-minute ones or two of the 10-minute ones.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Video games?
I finally got around to the Borderlands 3 DLC.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay. Do tell.
Spoiler alert for Borderlands, because this actually is similar to Tiny Tina's Assault, where you have to be a certain level.
Oh yeah.
And it spoils parts of the main game if you get straight into it.
Borderlands 2 is done with. So.
Yeah, so it's an assault on Sanctuary. So you start off the DLC, you're in Sanctuary. This big assault happens on Sanctuary, and you find that these plant monster-y thing that's taken over. And Lith, who's got the power of phasing, she phases you all out of Sanctuary, and you need to fight your way back into Sanctuary. And the DLC kind of follows the actual storyline of Borderlands 2, where you have to find Mordecai, you do a bit with Mordecai, you got to find Brick, you got to do a bit with Brick, and it's similar to kind of Borderlands kind of style of gameplay, where it'll say go kill 15 of these, go do this fetch mission, go do this. That's kind of what it is. And so far I think the loot hasn't been that good. Maybe there's more. I've got to a mission or a story 4. In all the other ones, there's so much loot crates. The loot's everywhere. The guns were good. You get loads of that pink Erodium and stuff. But in this one, it doesn't seem like there's that much of it. Weapons in that.
Strange, considering Borderlands 3 is supposed to be all about how they're really pushing how many guns there are. You'd think they'd give you some loot on this, as it's kind of an advert for it. So
yeah. So that way it's a little bit disappointing, but it is pretty much similar to what the whole Borderlands game. It's not as fun as some of the other DLCs, but yeah, as a free DLC that increases the level cap as well, it's worth playing. Also note, it's easy to find because as soon as you go to fast travel system, it's right at the top of your fast travel, and it says Fight for Sanctuary. You can also skip the game and start at level 30. So part of this installation, you install it, it lets you jump straight to level 30.
Skip it.
So you can play this. So you don't have to
play this.
You can, instead of grinding your way through, you can go straight to it.
Excellent. Will that keep your level at 30 so then you could play Tiny Tina again?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know what I just know what I've played.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you recommend it to everyone?
Oh yeah. If you love Borderlands, this is the one for you. If you don't, it'll be pretty much similar to what you've seen before. In the fetch things are all the same, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So if you don't like it,
more for anyone who loves Borderlands. Otherwise, probably not bother because they just need to play Borderlands first.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you like Borderlands as a whole, play it. It's well worth it, and it's free. On the other hand, if you don't like Borderlands and you played it, don't play this because it's just more of the same.
Okay, cool. Well, this week I've been playing GTA San Andreas.
Oh.
So I've been playing that. I'm actually playing it on the PS3 now, which has an HD version, which is a little bit buggy, but it looks beautiful. And San Andreas is still as addictive and good as ever. I've played it. I've completed the game twice on PlayStation 2. I completed it recently on PlayStation 4 on their port of it on there, and now I'm playing it on PS3 as well on this HD version. So, it's a classic game that I don't think ever gets old, really. And I think it's one that you haven't really played through, is it?
No, I think GTA 5 is the only one I played to the end.
Yeah,
that's it.
It is dated a bit now, and the controls are a bit dated. The HD version has got a remapping of the controls, but I like to use the original because I know them a lot better, original controls. But you can use more modern sort of triggers and stuff to the more controls you're used to in GTA 5, I think, to play it on this version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just such a great game every time, really. Things you don't really get in GTA 5 is that this game took place in a state that had 3 major cities in it, which it might just sound like a boast, but you actually start off the game in one city in Los Santos, like in GTA 5.
Yeah.
You're in like the hood area, gang warfare and all that sort of thing, and it really feels like home. So you can spend so much time just hanging around in that area that when the story moves on to the next area, to the countryside, and then to San Fierro, which is like San Francisco, basically, it feels like a whole actual move. It's really investing game. I can still always highly recommend it, really. When I first tried the HD version a few months ago, I was a bit confused because it felt like the original game, but it was really high detailed textures, which is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But since I've played through the whole thing on PS4 and now I'm doing PS3, the PS3 is actually less laggy. The controls are a lot better, so actually it feels a lot better than the ports that you can get, the basic ports. So yeah, I don't know why you haven't played it. You need to play it. But it is going back in time a bit, so I don't know if I could recommend it or not. I will always recommend it. You should try it, but the polygons and such is it still feels very PS2. It's going back a couple of generations now, but it's such a classic game with a really great story as well. And just the pacing of the whole thing is really great, and the amount of things the amount of role playing you can do just by hanging around and just running over drug dealers and gang members and stuff.
Maybe when they release GTA 6 with a collector's edition that includes these old games ported for the new PS5. I might play it then. There's if Rockstar are listening, there's an idea for you guys. Put all the old ones onto the new one so we can play on the new console. Then I am more than happy to try them out.
I mean, you can get all three of them on PS5 as well at the moment. On PS4, sorry. So I expect you'll be able to get them on PS5 as well. You can get them on PS3, all off of PSN. It's a lot of P's. So yeah, you got no excuse not to play it.
I know.
I think it's on offer as well again at the moment. The trilogy on PSN. GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas.
But it's on PS3.
PS3 and PS4.
Okay, if it's on PS4, fine. Never go back. That's what I say. Always look forwards to games console-wise. So yeah, I might. Based on your kind of review, I might give it a whirl.
Okay.
A couple of other things I've seen. Comic-Con's on right now. They've released a new It 2 trailer. It Part 1, Chapter 1. It wasn't that scary. It's a good film. It's fine. The first trailer, I like the first trailer. Have you seen the first one where Jessica Chastain goes back to her old house and talks to the old lady?
Yeah.
I think that's quite creepy and that's quite good. Yeah, I think that's enough. I'll be happy to watch the film based off of that, just seeing that interaction between these two. So they've released the second trailer where you see a bit more. You see James McAvoy, Bill Hader. You see them all the loser crowd grown up and as kids, kind of jumping between the two and being chased by Pennywise. And I think it all looks okay.
The guy that's been in the town the whole time and all that.
Yeah, the black guy who's been there the whole time, and they've all come back. It looks fine. I think it's more symbolism they're going for. There's loads of red balloons that fly off on the screen. I don't think there's any jump scares or anything scary in the trailer, except the very end reveal the very end of the trailer where you see Pennywise, and that actually looks quite cool. Generally, I don't find Pennywise scary, and I didn't find the first film scary, so I don't know if I'll find this one as scary. But just having the bit where Jessica Chastain goes back to her old house, talking to that old lady, I like that kind of stuff. That's quite atmospheric and that's quite interesting. I forgot to say, I've just started watching Hereditary. You talked about Midsummer last week.
The
first 45 minutes of the film is quite boring. Something happens, involves the kids, and now they play with the Ouija board for the first time, and it's got interesting now. So now I'll see where the next hour of this film takes me.
You're
halfway through. Hour, if I was to grade the 2 hours, the first hour up until the bit where she played with the Ouija board was fine. There's only one bit that I liked. Other than that, is all right. And then they play with the Ouija board, and now I'm like, oh, this looks good. So hopefully from this point on, the film picks up.
So you rate. So what will you give the second half of the film?
Once I watch it, this is my It 2. This is Chapter 2, right?
Yeah.
So this is just like it. I had to split it into 2 halves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So hopefully by next week I can give you my review of the ending.
Okay.
I've also saw the new trailer for Top Gun 2. Tom Cruise turned up to Comic-Con and he showcased some of the clips and the stuff for the film, and they released a trailer of that. It looks the same. I mean, it's a plane flying around. There's in the trailer they show you cuts of the volleyball game again, singing in a bar, more flying.
Is it more or less gay, homoerotic?
Because of the way they've clipped the advert, I think it looks they've intentionally made it feel less.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's a
I
shame.
imagine it'll be more.
It should be more. That's one of its main selling.
Because the volleyball moment in the original is all about that. I think if they don't
balls back and forth.
Exactly. I mean, it looks fine. I think Tom Cruise has come out and said, we've used practical effects for this. We've used real fighter jets, and we've tried to minimize the amount of CGI and stuff.
He always says stuff like that, and
I know,
stunts and all that stuff.
Exactly. I've seen the Mission Impossible. I've seen the bit where he tries to jump off one building onto the other and broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Man's crazy. He'll do anything. Everything he does is just crazy at his age. But it's great. I mean, those films benefit from him being as crazy as he is.
Definitely.
Hopefully this film's good. I also saw a trailer that dropped last night for the film musical Cats.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So there's a musical that's been on stage for years, but Daniel Lloyd Webber.
Cats.
And
it's the one everyone goes to see at some point.
Yeah, and it's been turned into a film. So the film's called Cats. For some reason, the whole internet is up in arms. Well, I say all internet. There's been a lot of Twitter conversations about this trailer. Now, you've not seen the trailer. But if I told you there's a trailer about a film called Cats, what do you expect to see?
People in cat outfits.
People in cat outfits, somehow wearing either prosthetics, so they look as real as they can be, or a bit of CGI, right? But cats.
CGI, yeah.
So it's literally people dressed as cats,
people
singing songs. That's the trailer. That's what I expected in my head. That's what I saw. And people were like, what am I watching here? I've never seen the musical, but I'm guessing in the musical they dressed up as cats. So the only thing about the film, and it may be because I've not seen the Broadway show, perspective. So obviously the cats are small and the buildings and stuff around them are bigger. And that could be because they're genuinely cat-sized cats and not human-sized cats. Which is fine. If that's explained to me at the start of the film, I get it. I understand what's going on. But the reason why I bring this up, two things. One, obviously, because of the Twitter reaction. But secondly, the star cast is incredible. Like, it's got Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, Judi Dench, Sir Ian McKellen, James Corden, Taylor Swift, Ray Winstone, Jennifer Hudson, Jason Derulo. And so it's got you've got Taylor Swift, Jennifer Hudson, Jason Derulo, who are real singers right now who've got huge careers. Rebel Wilson, James Corden, who've done loads of comedy stuff, but they're in there. And you got Sir Ian McKellen, Judi Dench, and Idris Elba. So you've got and Ray Winstone. So you got these other actors as well who bring a lot to the table. So the star cast is incredible for this. It's directed from the guy who did Les Mis. So it's got huge.
Another stage
going for it.
Film.
Yeah. So I'd say to Twitter, I'd say to people watching the trailer, watch the film.
Cheer out.
just cheer up. Wait for the film. It might not be that bad.
Cheer up.
And another thing I was reading about is Terminator, the new one, the one by Tim
Not another
Miller.
one.
The one that's out this year. It's got given an R rating.
Excellent.
I was going to say, is that where you? Because the first one was, I think the second one was, and then the rest of them have been like PG-13. It's kind of watered down. So you're excited now, right? You're like, oh, this is R-rated. They're gonna do what they did. They brought the original star cast back for this one as well, and this is a direct sequel of number 2. So are you on board?
Well, sounds like that they're trying to get me on board for sure.
James Cameron's producing this one as well, the first time since number 2.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. Yeah.
Tim Miller's directing.
Let's forget all the other movies now.
That's right. They've said that from the start. 3, 4, 5.
Genesis.
Genesis. All of
rid of them all. Yes, I'm on board for Terminator, the new Terminator 3.
The new Terminator 3.
Pretty cool.
I think it's like Fate of the Dark. I don't know, something Dark World or something. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Tim Miller's doing it as well, so that's a good director.
Yeah, that's like fun.
And just last thing I've been listening to a lot is a song by Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus called Old Town Road. Have you heard this song?
Okay. No.
Well, it's been number 1 for 15 weeks. I mean, you live under a rock or something. You've not heard this song. I think you should. The reason why I bring this up, and normally I won't talk about music in this way, especially not singles. So this song's been out for a while. It got classified when it first came out as a country song. So it appeared on, in the UK, we have kind of the main top 40 or the top 100, whatever it is, but we generally don't have our music classified. So you don't have a pop chart. would have like a hip hop or R&B chart or country music. In America, they do have those various classifications. So this song was originally in the Billboard charts, but under country music, and it was there for a while, and then it got declassified as a country music song. And there's been a lot of controversy around that, because people are saying, well, the reason why it's not is because country music, whoever built Billboard, whoever sits on top of that, has decided that this is from a young black rapper and it can't be classified as a country music song. But if you listen to the song Old Town Road, it's
really
that's what it feels like, right? So we don't know the true reasoning why. But Billy Ray Cyrus is on the song as well, and he's huge. So he's, Icky Bicky Heart, massive country song anyway. Miley's dad, he's on this track as well. But they declassified it from the country music charts, which is really bizarre. And it's a black rapper.
If it judged by individual song, if it's got all the hallmarks of a country song, it's a country song.
Exactly, yeah. That's what most people would say. They say, look, if it fits that classification, you've said it's that classification, then it should be that classification. Then all of a sudden, after it's been in that genre for a number of weeks, you then decide you want to pull it. You can do, but it just seems like the reason why you pulled it is because it's from a black rapper. Anyway, the reason why I bring that up, because it's been disclassified from there, but it's number 1 for 15 weeks in the top charts. So a big finger to the classification.
And do you like it? Is it a good song?
I genuinely love this song. Lil Nas recently has kind of like at the end of last month, he's kind of put stuff out on Twitter about who he is, and I back him 100%. I say, I'm glad you've come out and you've done and said what you are, and you know what, more people should be kind of open with their feelings and stuff, and they shouldn't be, especially when you're from country music and rap music. You always kind of get like, if you're a person and you are in this genre, other people in that genre look down on you if you're a certain way.
Yeah,
and I think he's really young. I
don't know about this news. So is he? What he's saying? He's gay?
So yeah, he's come out and he's come out and he said he's gay. So as part of the Gay Pride Month, at the end of the month, he came out and he said he is, and I think it's incredible. Excellent. Like he's a young black rapper who's got a country song or a rap song, whichever way you want to put it, and he's getting stick from various genres, and it's because it's more of a taboo in those two genres than it is in any others. But it's incredible that you've done this because you're a young kid.
We need to see more of that in these genres, definitely.
And I think even though
this negative stereotype,
exactly, and even though he doesn't want to be, he's now a role model for these genres, and you know what, he should just kind of like be like, whatever this negativity is, whatever these people's feeling, forget about it. Like, I'm going to make great music regardless, and I'm going to work with the best people, and I'm just going to put out incredible stuff out there. And that's hence why I kind of brought up his track, because I think what you're doing, he's a young kid, he's amazing. He's got this huge song, even though it got taken away from the Billboard chart in country music, even though he's gained some stick for who he is, he's doing incredibly well. And I wish him all the best and all the success in the world, right? Because he's a great talent, and he should just carry on making great music.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to see more people coming out in.
Exactly, yeah.
None of this, there's one particular type of person we can hate in rap. None of that crap. No. Get rid of that. It's no good. The rest of the rap is a lot of fun. But
exactly. You know what? It doesn't matter. Like, if you're making great music, if you're making a great film, great TV, great book, it doesn't matter what you are, how you act. As long as you're a good person in general, it doesn't matter. Good on you.
And even differing in opinions, but
it's actually good.
It's our opinion.
Exactly. We should have difference of people as well, because if everyone was the same way and we all liked the same person, nobody would win, right? This way, it's much better. Yeah. It's great that it's so diverse. And last two things that I saw, one was Jay and Silent Bob got a Reboot trailer. Have you seen Jay and Silent Bob? Do you remember this?
I have seen it. Yeah.
Yes,
heard of
years
that,
ago,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So Kevin Smith,
Kevin
film
Smith,
came out years ago. He's finally getting a sequel. I saw the trailer. It looks hilarious. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
The star cast is just crazy. So Chris Hemsworth, Shannon Elizabeth, Joe Manganiello, Rosario Dawson, Justin Long, Jason Lee, Jason Biggs, James Vanderbeek, Craig Robinson, Method Man, Chong from Cheech and Chong, Redman. It's incredible star cast. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck again. It's got all the people he kind of works with, Kevin Smith, and it looks really funny. I just hope it's a really good film. It's got his daughter in it as well, Harley Quinn. I just hope it's a good film because I love the first one.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith is one of the great cult classic directors.
Yeah.
Really, Mallrats and Clerks and all that.
Dogma.
Chasing Amy, which not so many people watch, but yeah. I do prefer his classics now. Like some of his newer stuff starts to get a bit political and a bit weird, but yeah, we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, I think it's at what age and what time were you when you were first introduced to a Kevin Smith film, right? If you saw Mallrats now,
I was a teenager then.
Yeah, and I think if you saw Mallrats as a young kid, you won't appreciate it and you won't enjoy it. If you're a teen, and I think it's kind of there's a certain age group that will be like, oh my god, this filmmaking is amazing, and it's great.
We associate ourselves with it, we relate to it, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
But I think even watching back, I mean, I guess you would say that like later in life when you look back on that sort of film, Mallrats and that, you might just think, what's this about? But back in the day, that it was saying everything.
Yeah, similar to when people watch Garden State and they were like, "Oh, this is amazing." But I think it's for a time in your life that you would enjoy. If you went past that window and you watched it later on, then you'd be like, "What is this rubbish?" Or if you watched it too early, you won't appreciate it. Because I remember watching Pulp Fiction, not Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, the first time, and I thought this is fine. I didn't quite understand it. Then I watched it a second time and paid attention, and I was like, the storytelling, the way it's done from start to finish is incredible. The dialogue and everything is amazing, and the fact that it's not a linear film, which I was so used to back at that time, it just opened my eyes to whole new filmmaking.
Yeah, Tarantino did a good job.
Yeah, and I also saw a film trailer called Playing with Fire, John Cena comedy. I mean, it looks all right. That's all I can say about it. It looks all right. It's got
1-star recommendation.
It's got Keel in it as well, from Jordan Keel. Yeah, it's fine. That's all I'd say. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much all of our reviews and previews.
Brilliant. Yeah. So no, we have to do a segment for that, even if we say nothing. And then MyGuy previews of stuff for next week. Are you going to watch Lion King? That's the question. Yeah, I'm going to watch Lion King. I'm going to give it all its chance that it can have. Just going to give it a shot. See where it is. See what it does. And then when I've seen it, I'll come and tell you how bad it is. Brilliant.
How Jon Favreau has let us down.
Yes, he has. He's let the massive down.
But let's hope it does.
I don't think you could pull it off. It doesn't matter how good you are. I just don't think you could pull this off. This is one too far. It's such a classic film that I remember watching, that I grew up watching, that I can't watch it. I can't sit through it.
For me, Aladdin pulled it off. So
I never watched Aladdin.
Aladdin recently did it. It managed to keep some of the magic at least. So it is possible. I think every single film remake is possible to make it good. It's just if there's someone that's capable of the job, and we'll see if Jon Favreau is capable, or if he should stick to doing his own independent movies.
I think so far with the Disney live action remakes, I've not had a affiliation with a lot of the old cartoons where I'd be like, this is one that I loved. So the ones that I kind of really loved is Jungle Book, Lion King. Lilo and Stitch, that's a very recent one. Mulan, I loved. So those animated films, when they get turned into live action, Lilo and Stitch and Mulan work because they're real people. So they're not hard to kind of CGI the other characters around them. But the main bit is all humans. But the two that I think they have tried, and Jungle Book definitely I felt they failed with, is the whole CGI cartoony characters. And I'm thinking back to did I enjoy any others? Oh, I loved Emperor's New Groove. They could do that. That's again just people and an emperor getting turned into llama, so that could work. I never really cared for Beauty and the Beast growing up. I only watched Aladdin when I was a lot older, so I didn't have that love and nostalgia feel for it when they said they're remaking it.
I had the game on the Mega Drive and I've heard the soundtrack so much. So
the classic platformer.
Yeah, such a good game. And you get all of the songs for the movie in your head just from the tunes in that game.
I see. So for you, that's a bigger thing. I think growing up, because I've
only rewatched it once or twice on animation.
I think I only watched it once. I think I watched it quite late on as well. Once everyone had seen all the clips, because YouTube was around by then, and a lot of the Robin Williams clips were already played. And I think because Simpsons parodied it, maybe South Park parodied it, so I've seen enough of it without actually knowing I've seen the film. Yeah. So. For next week, I'm going to finish watching the Love Robot thing because that's really good. I'm going to finish that. I'm also going to watch Upside, which is a film that came out this year, starring Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart, based on an original French film which I saw. I think it's called Untouchables, and it's just a really, really good French film, and it grossed like 200 million worldwide. It's a huge film, and they've done a US remake with those two, so I'm going to watch that. And I'm going to watch the J.J. Abrams produced Overlord.
Excellent. You got a busy week ahead.
Yes, got loads to get through.
Good. I want to watch a lot, but I've been playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for 3 days, and I feel like I'm going to be consumed by that for another at least 3 days. But definitely Lion King as soon as that's out, and I will get that watched. And also I want to watch the Dragon Prince on Netflix. So I do want to watch that at some point. So these are things I need to get on with.
Yes, you can tell us, because then I don't need to waste my time watching these things. You can just tell me if they're good or bad. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, will you watch Aladdin though? Now I told you how good I think it is. You should.
Not until it's on Sky Movies.
Yeah, true. Okay. Well, I'll give it a year or half a year.
Exactly. I'll give it a year and then I'll watch it.
And then you can watch it and you can see that it's actually pretty good. Because you think from the cast, the way you look at the cast, and you think they're not like the original cast, and they don't sound like the original cast. You don't expect it to be good, but it is good. So
this time next year, I will give it the fresh thumbs up.
Excellent. This time next year.
Yes. Tell us what you think. Hit like on wherever you get your podcasts from.
You're talking to the audience now, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you can do it as well. I mean, to contact us, please use our Twitter handle. We got MyGuy Reviews. If you want to email us at myguyreviews@gmail. In the subject line, put in the word brig or put in the word big, and then wig, it comes to one of us. Also, if you want, we've got an Instagram account. There's no pictures on there yet, but we're happy to post some pictures on there at some point. And also, wherever you get your podcast from, like it, review it, send it to a friend, download it for a friend, put 5 stars on there, and then just give us some feedback, genuine feedback. That's what you didn't like.
Send it to the president or prime minister. And,
we don't have a prime minister. Our prime minister is stepping down.
Yeah, let's not talk politics. There's a lot to talk about.
This country's bad.
This whole world's gone crazy.
I guess one last thing I totally forgot to say. Obviously, in MyGuy Quick Reviews, I've been watching the Cricket World Cup, and we're the champions. Yes. We're the champions. Yes. We did it. We're champions of the world. We did it. It's all because I sat down and watched every single game.
There you go.
I was the lucky mascot.
Yeah,
we are now the champions of the world.
Yeah, it's all down to you, dog.
It's all me. It's all me. Like I am. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, if anyone watches cricket, they'll know. Just went down to the very last delivery, the last ball.
England never win.
New Zealand needed 2 runs, and we ran them out, and we won the game. Yeah. We won the World Cup. We're the champions.
Yeah. And that finalised the signs of the apocalypse in order. England win at cricket. That's the last sign. That's
the last sign. Now we just need to win the Ashes.
And it's all downhill from here.
That's it. We peaked.
Well done, England.
We got to the semi-finals in the Football World Cup, the Women's World Cup this year, and then we won the Men's Cricket World Cup in cricket. Yeah. And I think you're right. It's time for the apocalypse now. I think we've peaked. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, guys, and see you next week.